to the show. Oops. There we go. So, welcome to your lesson. Today we are going to start with our prayer and also be kind of symbolic. So if you want my bread recipe, message me and I'll give it to you. So make some bread and then get some wine. I'm having some Chateau del Rey. And then get your chalice. See, Jesus likes wine. You came to the right place. Okay. Now, this is how we do in the priesthood of Melchizedek. You have your sacrament, your communion, your holy sacrament, your wine and your bread. Now, the bread is made with yeast, and the wine is made with yeast. But each of these represents a different vibration, a different end of the spectrum in terms of chakra or light bodies. Because your chakras are the different molecules that make up your light body, which is what we are using in this lesson. So the bread, you can imagine it as being at the top of your bottom. So what is the top of your bottom? The top of your bottom is your solar plexus. Your solar plexus is like your internet. It connects you to your instincts, your real life, cat-like reflexes that tell you when to jump, when to make a decision, when to send an email, when to look for a job, when to apply. That's all your internet, your gut. And we eat this bread because we are symbolizing that the smallest piece of life, which is the yeast, because yeast is bacteria, and bacteria is inside of us. Bacteria facilitates our growth. And you all know, even when you take antibiotics, you have to have bacteria again through probiotics so that your system can function normally again. So you have your yogurt and stuff like that, your Danone. So this bread symbolizes the sun energy. It symbolizes your solar plexus because the wheat grew out in the open field and it was harvested and it was separated from the chaff so that we, like us in the priesthood of Melchizedek, would be set apart and separated from the chaff, as I've shown you in the past 4 lessons. And so that we can come to a point where we are perfected. We are made into the top of the bottom, the top of the lowest of humanity, the roughness of nature, of Earth, of Capricorn, of Saturn, that roughness of a farmer every single day fighting the elements just so we can have this grain, so we can make bread that goes into our solar plexus, okay? So this yeast represents solar plexus, and Jesus said, our high priest said, eat of this, for it is my body. Okay, so his body is the body born of this earth. So it's an alien hybrid, because we're going to get to the alien part. But this is the Son of Man part. This is the part, you can see the lights flickering. That's why they call us Star Marines. This is the part that we we are not necessarily raising. A lot of people say, yes, you must take your root chakra and raise it up to the top. Yes, that's correct, but it doesn't disappear. It's always a part of you. The flesh is always there. We are here on earth. We are not, you know, we are in the cube of Metatron, and this represents the highest form of perfection that you can make, because this took a lot of people and a lot of time for it to become food in my solar plexus. And it is blessed because whatever we eat becomes us, unless whatever you eat becomes, you become it. I'm sure you don't want it to be that. So whatever you eat becomes you. So it is sanctified through you and through all the hard work. And that's the point of why you eat the bread. Okay? It's not for fun. And it's not about zombies. It represents the toil and work of all your 50,000 ancestors who brought you here. Here they are. So let's eat of the bread. And as you eat, think of those people who ate the first bread. Think of the people who invented the first bread. Imagine what must have gone through their minds. Like, wait a minute, how did that and water and this and heat and it what? Think about that. Don't just exist in the world sucking up oxygen for free. Think about the people who came, the physical beings who came before you, who fought to survive, to figure stuff out. They didn't have internet. And not all of them were good, so we only want to focus on the good ones, the perfected ones, the ones who rose. Okay, so this is your root chakra, the people who actually made the flour and who provided the water systems that I use, because this is flour. Oh, there's no water in here. It's milk. Milk and cream, coconut milk. So all of those people, there's even more energy that went into this, because now you have the cow farmers, you have the coconut milk people, and also oil, canola oil, seed oil. So all the people who made that. There's also Celtic salt in here. We only do Celtic salt here. So that's a very difficult process to make Celtic salt. And so they're in this as well. So imagine from all over the world, from my root chakra to my sacral chakra to my solar plexus, I'm covered by Jesus. Then he says, drink of my blood. Amen. Okay. So the blood is the top of the top. So we have the top of the bottom and the top of the top. So the top of the top This wine represents your crown chakra. Okay, it's the top of your top. Because this is the color of spirit, the color of amethyst, Saint Germain. And this color is no coincidence. This color is the gateway or the portal to spirits. That's why these things are called wine and spirits. They are spirits. Okay. And now let's just do a prayer before I continue. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from all evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever. Amen. Let all the works we do here today bring light to the children of light listening, and let all demons remain blocked behind the giant screen where they hear and see nothing of the light until they learn to vibrate up to the correct vibrational pattern where they will be able to be accepted into the light. And that is only through Jesus Christ. Amen. So when we talk about the wine and the spirits, we are essentially talking about your crown chakra, that higher state of awareness that is beyond the physical realm. And we are actually talking about your Holy Spirit, 1212. We are talking about your Holy Spirit because you are one of the 144,000 chosen or charmed ones. Welcome. And so you have rights that are different to the Gentiles, and that's why you need to learn how this information benefits you in specific terms or in particular. Now, the wine opens a gateway through to your Holy Spirit, which travels through the fourth dimension into the fifth dimension where it's rooted. Now, I know I explained a lot about the bread, like in physical, logical, human terms. But now, oh, there's Saturn. But now I'm actually going to show you in a Neptunian way how this works. And I want you to imagine this as being the wine portal. So the bread, we talked about it, it's very logical, but now we're going through the wine portal. And then I want you to also remember what we talked about in lesson 1, which is Tiferet. Remember that you need the Lord's loving kindness as well as Lucifer's spirit in order to appreciate the divine beauty of God's creation, because God is one thing. There is nothing that exists outside of God, and we are going to discuss today a little bit on what happened when people thought that they could go outside of God and how it's ridiculous, and how anyone who tries to do that is just asking for destruction. So it be best for us priests of Melchizedek to do what we have been instructed, which is to take the sacrament of all, of both. And through the blood of Christ, which covers us, we don't have to suffer anymore for it. We don't have to die for it anymore. Okay, so let's go. So yes, we are going through the left hand sphere of working today. Okay, that's why we had to do the sacrament. and why we are going to draw the magic circle, because now this is about you and everything that happens here. This is your 5th lesson. So 5 is the number of completion. So after this, you are locked into the game. So if you've watched 1 to 4 so far, and this is number 5, this is your last chance to turn back. Yes, you're having a feast. And no, this is not the Last Supper. This is the first one of many. So let's open with a passage which will come in handy later. Let's go to Revelations chapter 5, verse 5. And the chapter is called Worthy is the Lamb. So chapter 5 says, verse 5 says, "But one of the elders said to me, 'Do not weep. Behold, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the Root of David, has prevailed to open the scroll and to loose its 7 seals.'" Okay, and for those who listened in the previous lessons, let's go on to verse 6 just to connect it all for you. "And I looked, and behold, in the midst of the throne and of the 4 living creatures, and in the midst of the elders, stood a lamb as though it had been slain, having 7 horns and 7 eyes, which are the 7 spirits of God sent out into all the earth. Okay, so this is talking about Jesus. He is the Lion of the tribe of Judah. He's the Lion. So I want us to remember that as we continue on our journey into the kingdom within. Let's zoom in again. Better. All right, so Jesus, our high priest, is the Lion. But what the heck does that have to do with you, you wonder? You're like, what does that have to do with me? I just want to be a real boy or a real girl. In the real world, that doesn't exist. All right, so let's zoom out a little bit. Hey, it's such a hair trigger. Okay, there, I think. Okay, so how does all of this help you to manifest? What is it all about? Well, you are obviously a logical person, or at least you're a person who knows that there's something that's going on within reality that's a little bit more technically advanced than what everyone has been telling you at school or in society or just in general. It's like there's something that people aren't talking about or aren't paying attention to, but you are paying attention to it, and you're like, who do I talk to about this? Because if you tell a medical health professional, they'll tell you you're schizophrenic, and then they'll probably figure out you can't be schizophrenic because you can manage to pay your bills and do everything. And then you'll go to shamans and whatever, and they'll tell you to pull in the universal energy. And you'll be like, what energy? What universe? What are you talking about? I don't see anything. I just see normal stuff that everyone else sees. So what do you want from me? But yet you noticed that whenever you do stuff, there are these other effects that happen in your environment, and you've decided to call it law of attraction or what have you. Well, in deciding how to bring this particular part of this lesson to you, I knew that ultimately you want something actionable. You want something that you can take and do because you've been raised in this age of we'll do it for you, we'll give you the solution, the pet solution, the sushi solution. Say that 10 times. Where all you do is you dial a button and some AI robot will come and deliver to you your message or your advice, your life, your destiny. But now you are learning, because this has come to you through law of attraction. So this is your answer. Life is not passive. There are things that you will have to do, because we are here to do actions. Being in the priesthood is about actions. So let's talk about the legalities, because actions have consequences, and whenever something has a consequence, it has governing laws around it. And if it has governing laws around it, it has legalities. And there are real legalities that come from our real heritage, because we are governed by the laws of the stars. And I've been hinting here and there who we really are, but because this planet is so divisive and so picky and so racist, quite frankly, saying who we are and our star race doesn't discount our other 50%, which is marine, okay? Which is reptilian, it's Draco. And we can't pretend, like people have been trying to do in this bilateral law spectrum binary system we've been living in for the past 2,000 years since Moses, where everyone wants to follow 10 laws, and then they either become satanic and they try and twist the law for their own corruptive devices, or they become religious zealots and they try to adhere to the law at the expense of common sense. And both of these extremes have done nothing but exacerbate something that has been over for billions of years. But again, these demons don't want to let go. Now, I told you about the giant snake and everything, and that the snake is dead, okay? In the 3D, we are safe. There's actually nothing wrong here. This planet is a perfect simulation, like in terms of environment, as our real planet, Avalon, Nibiru. It is our real beautiful I call it Eden. It is a real replica of Eden. But because of the dead demons who now live as spirits in the astral realm, talking to people here and influencing them, and then they actually listen to them. And how do they get in? Through all those different portals of pain and trauma, through drug use that isn't done for medicinal or higher purpose, like unregulated. That opens portals and makes people insane through pain and trauma that goes untreated. That opens portals in people's minds towards this astral demonic influence in the ocean, in the unconscious mind. And we call this your dark passenger, your marine. And the humans are controlled by this thing. There's nothing we can do for them. But you are different. You are 50-50, technically. You have that Lyrian DNA. Why do you think Satanists only sacrifice cats? What is the Lyrian? We are cat people. Okay? That's what our DNA is based on. So I'm sure you have cat things happening with you. Like cats will walk past you, look at you, run past, like whatever, cling to you, because you're a cat people. If you want to get down to brass tacks. And so is Jesus. He's the Lion of Judah. He's the Son of Man. Man is cat people. And why do you think the number one thing that Satanists sacrifice is cats? Look it up. It's the number one. They don't do chickens, but people eat chickens. Why don't they do chickens? Why don't they do cows? Cows are holy in India. Why do they do cats? And why do they go hunting for lions? You're never going to find us going hunting for lions. You'll find us taming the lions. And I'm sure in your family you have stories of people who were able to walk past lions, or maybe it's in Africa because that's normal, maybe. Back in the day, if you lion, the cats and the lions, you are the card, strength card number 8 in the tarot deck. That's the root of your humanity, because that's what was also given to the humans who were made here on earth. The ability to command and name the animals. And so your human DNA, your goodness, our magic, our love, technology, all that beautiful emotion you feel inside when you dream and you go to these places, and when you're awake and you are experiencing love and law of attraction and everything working out divinely for you, when you have that feeling of alignment, that deep gateway to appreciation, it's coming from the Lyrans. Because through your crown chakra, you are able to connect to the higher dimensions. You die if you mention it. Now, the higher dimensions, and they allow you to experience why you incarnated as a human. Like, what is the point of being here, of being human? And once you are in that state of fully appreciating why you are human and why you are here, that's when you manifest, bitch. You don't manifest when you're angry, when you're bored, when you're fiddling, twiddling thumbs, when you want revenge, when you get dumped, when you get fired, when billionaires try to kill you. No. You go and sit inside your sarcophagus and you project peace as a Melchizedekian would. And you wait. You turn the other cheek. And while you wait, because we are in the real 8888 gang, 8 cubed gang, the real one, not the fake and the phony one. Because we work for Metatron, because 8 is the number of Saturn, remember we are in Urantia now, so we own this planet. And so when you are in that feeling of ultimate oneness, I know it sounds corny, oneness, but the oneness comes from your crown chakra. So when you use the yeast in its most corrupt form, because this is corruption, okay? This is innocence, the lamb. This is corruption, the serpent. And when you allow your corrupted state to connect you to your Lyrian inner human Masonic self, remember, Mason, you are not a Freemason because you're not silly. You don't think you're free. You know you are bound to God by His word. It's a binding. You cannot escape from it. And we know this. We are not silly enough to believe we control everything. We are not God, but we are bound to God. That's why, you know, some people will say, yes, you're a God, you're God. You can create anything. And I say, no, you are not God, but you can find ways to relate. Just like I'm not a woman, but I can find ways to relate to women because we both live on earth. We are both subject to the cycles of earth, the temperature, the weather, society, whatever. It may be, you know, the basic human things. But a lot of people on earth don't know how to relate to each other, which is why we had to send aliens here since the beginning. But anyway, the point is, because you have to use both the bread and the wine, there is room for further corruption, because what's stopping me from now becoming an alcoholic or just drinking wine every day? Self-discipline. And that's why the very first thing we learn in these arts is yoga, which is just a fancy way of saying breath control. So breath control is the very first thing you can do personally to activate your manifestational abilities in the 5D, which means instantly, because you can instantly control your breathing, which means you instantly change your emotional state. And in my book, I talk about Laban movements or Laban movements. And these are 8 ways you can control your breathing to change your emotional state. And that's instant. Now, if you tell me, oh no, you don't want to control your breathing, you just want to push a button and have what you want through a machine, like we are still in Montauk in 1984, then think again. Because now we are here in 2024, in this timeline. And in this timeline, we are using the boot backup system. Okay? You're gonna have to manually boot yourself up, okay? And so these Laban movements give you 8 ways. You can contact a practitioner. They can teach you how to do it. You can go on YouTube. They have videos on how to do all the different efforts. Now, obviously, you're going to have to read about it and like do work. That's how I like to do my lessons. I give you the seeds and then you have to nurture them and grow them. Because this is stuff that you already know. So I'm not going to restudy it for you. You have to go and say, hey, you said this, but I went and researched and I found that. Good. You're supposed to challenge your teachers. That's my school of teaching. Teaching is not a passive experience. It's a participatory experience. And we know this because we get dragged in our dreams to this world called Lumania, and we have to work there. We have to study. And some people don't like it because some people are working in the mall and they don't want to because they work in this world and they go sleep and they work there. But I'm like, you don't work there. You just choosing to work there because that you hiding for some reason. Maybe you're ashamed. Why don't you go visit the other place? And then they come here to me and ask me, why am I working in the mall? And I'm like, I told you you're not working in the mall. It's like you are getting addicted to this planet's ability to divide, to make things divisive. And you are starting to go insane like the rest of them. Whereas you are in control the whole time. You've always been in control because you are here listening to what to do. You found the solution. Somehow, you did it. And I wouldn't be here if I didn't see the evidence. Look at my background. I am an academic. I am not supposed to be talking about this. This is just a movie as far as everyone else is concerned. But this thing is real. And why is it important? Because they think it's real because they are listening to these demons in the 4th dimension. Who's they? So if we are the lion, who's they? We are lions. They are, can you see? Yes, reptilians. Yes, Chittahulu. Yes, I'm sorry to say, it's real. It's all real. And unfortunately, if you're listening to me, it's because you've just had or you are going through some very terrifying experiences in your life of the supernatural ilk, of the supernatural realm kind. And you're listening to this because this is your only way out. This is your key. And this is proof that Jesus is real because I come in the name of Jesus. I'm telling you what he told me. Well, what the Father told us. What the Father told me while he was there. And what we were told since the age of 5, 2 years after the first time they came to me at the age of 3, what I was told is that there is a psychic spiritual battle going on. And this psychic spiritual battle is over influence from dimensions outside of ours. And the dimension outside of ours, or the dimensions outside of ours, are dimensions beyond the 7 stars that I teach you to align with to protect yourself. And that's why I say the matrix is good. The matrix is protecting you, because if you come out the matrix, you'll be eaten by monsters. Because that's what you're trying to do when you say you want to escape the matrix. You think you want to go out and live on a farm somewhere away from civilization. Well, I'm here to tell you, you work for one of the 7 lights. And the 7 lights come from the 7th dimension. The elders are there, the Elohim. And so we work for these people as human representatives of them on Earth. And Earth, Urantia, is not what you think it is. It is a grid. It's a cosmos. It's a system. It's a complex holographic system of repelling things that give the illusion of hardness or texture or beingness. But it's not. It's dead matter. Beingness is the thing controlled by that which animates that matter which is animated. Or, how I take this inanimate object, which is a pen or a sword. And with it, I can write things that have an effect in your brain. And when they have an effect in your brain, they have an effect on the world. Because it has already been proven through psychology, behavioral neuroscience, that when you teach a mouse something in one part of the country, a mouse in another part of the country has already learned it. There is an invisible neural network of ideas, a liminal space beyond which we can see, that which we can see, and we are now in it. We live it every single day. And so there's this huge pressure for you in particular to learn these things, because it's affecting you beyond normal people, because you are not attuned to this dimension. But you volunteered to come here. And by volunteered, I mean either you literally said, I want to come to Earth to do this, or you were chosen out of a sticky situation. Maybe you were abducted by reptilians and all of a sudden you wanted to escape, and the only way you could escape is if you were saved by the Star Marines, and then you were taken on the spaceship and dropped off here, like whatever, but you were somehow, for some reason, specifically selected to be in this program. And the key is in your genes. So I suggest you go look up something called gene keys. And go figure out what's going on with your gene keys. And there is a site called genekeys.com. They have a free chart you can do. I suggest you do that and keep your Vedic chart and your gene key chart. But let's go back to reptilians. So this is a very sensitive topic, because not all reptilians are bad, and reptilians are not really what we would call them. We would call them Dracos. So you have Lyrans and Dracos. Now, the Lyrans and Dracos are very famous for an event that is happening in the fourth dimension right now. Because the fourth dimension, everything happens at the same time. And unfortunately, some rich people take lots of psychedelics and they talk to these demons in the fourth dimension who give them the wrong instructions to get blood sacrifices because they are angry at what happened to their planet. Their planet. They are angry when God said, let there be light, because God was hovering above in a spaceship for a long time. And then he decided to colonize this planet. And they don't like it. And I'm saying, too bad. It's done. Move on. Okay, people say I'm harsh. I know. I was told when I do this lesson, I have to be like a funeral director. And I have to be all solemn. And I have to say, we are here to help the spirits of aliens, aka demons, move on. Because we have won and they are now burning in the lake of fire. Which they didn't have to because they didn't want to move on. So then we had to lock them in there before November 19th. In Tartarus, yes, bizarro world. But I was supposed to come on here and be all solemn and say, guys, I need you to go out and tell the world to just help everyone they know to move on. Because all they are feeling is the remnants of demonic energy from 25 billion years ago or 3.75 billion years ago. And they think it's happening now. And they are manifesting from that place because the media they are consuming is reminding them of those fake things, those long ago things, because the people who are in positions of power, the people who create that media, are taking instructions divinely, yes, from demons. Demons can also be divine. They work in the fourth realm, in the collective, just beyond the collect, like it's the sea of unconscious, because we have access to the sea of unconscious, everybody does, but then there's the actual Tiamat, that bitch, who is still there, and she's still sad because she had to give up that machine that made us. Okay, now I'm just going deep for the nerds. I try to keep it simple for the newbies, but I'm gonna go in for the nerds today. The spirit is here. Literally. Ding! Okay, so Tiamat, the reason why I'm so disparaging towards the woman, I think we're gonna go over today. It's a Sunday service. Triple crown service. No, but I'm gonna go in because you need to understand. So when I see these people, I get taken up to these places, either through sleep or visions or whatever, and I see them. I go up to the ship and I'm shown these things like I'm there. I'm these people going through these things because they are in all of us in our DNA. You can see them too. And so I see these people, and recently I did like this futuristic therapy with the technician. Am I allowed to say? It's called Creative Pathways to Well-Being. There, I said it. And it really unlocked a lot of stuff that was in my mind, and it helped me find material evidence. It just really helped me wake up. So that, especially after the traumatic experience I'd had of actually coming up against a real behemoth. Like, you guys have no idea. You know how in the Bible they talk about like Leviathan and then Rahave, or that other snake? I have battled that other snake, and it is bad. When we talk about the dark arts, I will tell you all about it. Really bad, like insane, guys. They're not kidding in the Bible, but it's happening. Yeah. Anyway, we'll talk about that in the dark arts and how to protect yourself course. This is just introduction stuff, so I like to keep it loose. It's a 100 class. Everyone comes in, and then if you want to do 101, then we get deep. Okay, so Tiamat is still in the fourth dimension. So she's still in your mind, and structurally she's in your brain, right? Because we have a part of our brain called the RAS. And the RAS is the part of your brain that is connected to your consciousness. Your consciousness, or your prefrontal cortex, is what is controlling everything you're doing now. So it's like the front of your brain. It's the last part of your brain to be developed. Your prefrontal cortex. So you have this, I would call the newer part of the brain, the Lyrian part of the brain, the part that's like taking in information now and staying up to date with the current vibration, the chokhmah, energy, the light, versus this part, which is very dark. There we go. Okay, hang on a sec. There. Is that better? Or maybe I should just zoom out. No. Okay, I'll just write lower. Okay, so your prefrontal cortex is in the front of your brain, and then your RAS is at the back of your brain. So let's say that's the human. Okay. So this part has been found in dinosaur fossils from 500 million years ago. That's just what was found. So if this place is like 4 billion years old, let's say maybe 3.57 years old, billion years old, let's just say this 500 million represents a seventh. I mean, of like existence, like let's say the universe that we talk about. So like a seventh of this existence ago, we've had this part of the brain. But this RAS can only handle something like 64 gigs. Not gigs, kilobytes. 64 kilobytes of information. It can only remember like 8 different things, or 8 you can pay attention to 8 things. So for example, they say, okay, you can only be conscious of the clock that's ticking in the background. That's 1. The lights in the room. 2. The wind blowing outside. 3. The sun in the sky. 4. The temperature. 5. The effect of the wine on my eyes. 6. The chair I'm sitting on. 7. And the coldness of the floor. Okay, so these are 8 things that my mind can pay attention to. These are the only things that the RAS can physically remember. And this part of our DNA goes back 500 million years at least. Look it up, it's there. So that's why in my book I teach you how to manifest through this, through your reptilian brain. Yes, because why? That's where your emotions are highly charged. That's where you feel the most passionately, and whatever you feel there, you'll be able to organize and manifest using your prefrontal cortex, your ability to predict future consequences. Ability to predict future consequences. So if your prefrontal cortex is your last part of your physical brain to develop, and it is in the front of your brain, and around the age of 29 and a half, you are fully cooked. 29.5 years. That's why in Indian culture, you stay home until you get married, and you're supposed to get married when you're like 35 or 39 or something. But you guys live in the Luciferian world where they tell you, 18, leave the house, go to Hollywood. Go there when you're 18 years old and your brain doesn't even work, so you can sign away your life through a really bad contract, and then we own you. And we can use you as a hostage to recruit other people to live this life of Satanism. Whereas you should just be quiet. If I have kids, when I have kids, I should say, they staying with me till 29 and a half. Because if you know your astrology, that is your first Saturn return. And when you have your Saturn return, then you are fully made. You are fully able to start thinking and making decisions on this dimension. Before then, you should think of yourself as a journalist, and you are taking in information and you are researching. But if you are older than this age, now you have to start doing stuff, because that's the nature of Saturn. It waits, it's Earth. It waits and it creates. And that's represented again by the bread. The reason why Jesus says, take the sacrament of the body. The body is time. You can't just make bread. You have to wait for it to rise, and you have to knead it so that the proteins stretch. Let's have some more. And the protein has to stretch, and you have to put it in a warm place so that the yeast has time to eat. And the action of the dough rising is actually the microbial organism, right, eating the sugar and then shitting it out. So we are actually eating Pluto. We're eating death. But it is so non-violent because the yeast has such pure ecstasy in its life and death cycle. And when it goes in our stomach, it's alive because it's yeast, you know? So it's all in alignment. And when you can start, that's what everyone always asks me, how do I lose weight using your book? How do I lose weight? Oh, you lose weight by falling in love with everything you eat. You can eat a whole pizza. As long as you talk about it as if you're in love with that pizza, it will love you back. And if for you being skinny is love, then the pizza will love you by keeping you skinny. You command your cells. Okay, that's too advanced. We're still doing 100. Okay, so here's your prefrontal cortex. And this is your ability to predict future consequences. Now, a lot of these people who work for Satan or for Dracos, because our powers are here, our marine, because of Tiamat, right? Because she is the queen of this planet in the 4D. Because of her, as soon as you're born, when you're conceived already, you're part of this club. And for humans, it's 70 to 90%. For us, it's 50%. Draco DNA. Now, Tiamat is not really a full-on Draco. Draco is a lizard-like race from out there in the world, in the universe. And Tiamat is a reptile, amphibian thing that was just chilling here, minding its business, and was used by us, yes, in experiments. And by us, I mean by Lyrans, by God, his program, his people, to recreate an experiment here on Earth called, well, not called, but it was part of the panspermia thing, the directed panspermia. So as part of the Lyrian directed panspermia initiative, we came and chopped up Tiamat's DNA, as you've heard in the stories about the snake being chopped up. Osiris chops up a snake, apparently. You guys go research it. That's your homework. We took the DNA, spliced it up, and created humans. And who's we? We are the Anunnaki, who are mixed Lyrian and Draco. But we are mainly Lyrian. And we oppose the Orion Empire. We oppose the Orion Empire because they are operating off of draconian technology. And draconian technology is not all bad, because Venusian technology is based on draconian technology, and that's what we use to communicate with you and send you back our technology. So it's not completely that the Orion Empire is bad. It's complex, like everything. But now, in the fourth dimension, the Orions are acting up again, and they are trying to come here to take more human sacrifice. And as a Star Marine from Lyra, your job is not to stop them, because we've already beat them. Our grandparents beat them, right? The Anunnaki, they beat them. And since these Satanists are trying to recreate the war that we've already won on Earth 3D, we've been given special powers as Star Marines to manage the situation. To manage the situation. Okay. Because you think you're just a normal person. I'm just a normal person. I'm a waiter. I work at a pizza shop. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just a school teacher. I don't know what he means. I'm just an accountant. What? I'm an alien? I'm a Lyrian and I have draconian DNA. That's why I dream of grays taking me. And that's why I dream of these people wearing black trying to catch me. It's because it's my DNA trying to wake me up so that I can use all my powers. What? I thought I was being haunted by demons. Well, if you were being haunted by demons, you'd be dead like the rest of them. But a demon can't kill a demon. That's why the demons can't get you. They talk to you, they make themselves known to you, but they can't touch you. Because you have 50% draconian, so how can they touch you? Legally, they can't touch you. But you possess the machine, the Lyrians possess the machine, that the draconians have been trying to steal, because the draconians think it's a physical machine. And so, since we possess the machine, the star powers overrule or command the marine energy inside of you and outside of you. And that's what this net represents. These people are blocked. So you're going to be seeing a lot of Orion worship coming back. And that's another sign for you to see that this is real. Okay? You don't take drugs. You don't know what these billionaires are doing. They sit around and because they don't have to work, right? Their kids don't have to work because they inherit money. It's not like in our world where you have to work, your parents work, you work. No, they just inherit shares and stocks. So what do? They sit around, and what do we hear from the Bible? Idle hands are the devil's workshop. So they sit around and take these psychedelic drugs and they think they're having spiritual experiences, but they're talking to demons who hate humans, who've been waiting for an opportunity to influence people of worldly power. And it was set up that way because this is the draconian world. So it would make sense that the laziest of the laziest people have access to money and demonic technology. Because that's how the world was. And so over the years, we've been watching. We know the Lyrians, the lions of Judah. Why do you think in the Bible it says that God slain the serpent, Tiamat? It's already been slain and was made as food for the Ethiopians. I'll give you that quote in the show notes from the Bible. Why the Ethiopians? Why would God kill Tiamat, the snake, and claim it, and then say he gave it to food, as food to Ethiopians? What animal do Ethiopians symbolize themselves as? The Lion of Judah. Revelations 5:5. And we are that lion because the lion is a lyra. It's a Lyrian. That's the race from which we were made. Because the only way for a fifth dimensional or a seventh dimensional being to exist in the 3D and the 5D is to come from cat DNA. Because you need two legs, you need the bipedal 2 legs, and the hands thing. That's why it like mirrors itself, but it's on the other side. Because our body is a machine. It's a 5-pointed machine. You need this machine to get into the spaceship, the Merkaba, and power it. You are the M in the machine. And so our technology is more powerful than their technology. And so when you see Orion anywhere, don't worry. You've blocked it. It's not going to hurt you. And the things we are learning after these 100 courses, when we go into like Star Marine 101, then I'll be breaking down the particular specific codes, starting with, should I tell you now? Okay. The first thing we're going to do in the next lesson is go over the King's Chamber. Because in the next set of classes, you're going to be getting the practical application of all of these symbols you've been seeing. And the King's Chamber is something I talk about in chapter 6 of my book, except there I call it Draw a Magic Circle. But I'm talking about a King's Chamber. So we'll do that in the lesson after this. But essentially, all I need you to remember for this is that you being Lyrian doesn't mean now you have to go around being superior and thinking that you are better than reptilians. Because when humans make fun of reptilians, or when they say we need to kill reptilians, you are included in that. So don't think that you can get away with being racist. Part of being in the order of Jesus is you have to love everyone. You have to love all people. Guess what? Including your enemies. And I'll give you a verse for that in the next lesson as well. Because once you love your enemies, once you love the devil, then you have integrated all of your power. And loving your enemy doesn't mean letting them get away with evil. If you love your child, you punish them for doing things that are against your family tradition. And taking advantage of people and being corrupt is against our Lyrian family tradition. And since we are the ones who killed the snake, we claim it as our family. And if the devil is our family, then it is our responsibility to whip his ass into shape. And we are doing that by taking back our tools. Imagine you leave a weapon in your house under a lock and key, and you put it in a safe, and your nasty little son sees where you hid the weapon, and when you're gone at work, you think you're responsible, you've done everything right, but your son goes, he opens the box, he takes out the weapon, and he has his friend over there, and a big accident happens, and now there's a huge tragedy. That's the devil at work. What I'm saying is that weapon has already been used against you. This whole time it's been used against you. If you survived 2020, you know how this weapon has been used against you. So now, because you've given your son every chance to improve and your son hasn't improved, now God has said, okay, we are going to lay out judgment. And it's not a surprise because it's encoded in here. And this book works generationally. It's a program. It's Metatron's manual. This is a schema. The reason why everything in here keeps repeating is because people make it repeat. And for now, we don't have the strength yet to make them move past this book. We cannot. They are so deep into this that luckily we also put ourselves in here 2,000 years ago. But they are still here. But we are transitioning through this book, not away from it, but through it to understand the real meaning. And that has to do with the transfiguration of the Christ, because that's what this instant manifestation thing is about. It's really transfiguration. And so when we approach the stories of the Dracos and the reptilians and the marine spirits, yes, I will be angry about it and I will call them bitches because I'm saying it out of love. I'm not actually saying, you know, poor Tiamat is a bitch, because yes, she is, but she gave us the DNA which helped us actually be here. If we didn't have her DNA, our Holy Spirit would not be able to incarnate here. And neither would all the other spirits floating around the galaxy from all the wars that couldn't fit in the fourth dimension. Where would they go? Do you know why so many people keep being born and born? Because there are so many souls waiting to incarnate here from the fourth dimension, still from that war, the Orion War. Where's our Orion Wars page? Oh, we netted it. Yes, Orion War. We blocked it. But there are still so many spirits, because some spirits are from Mars. And you need like 1,000 humans to make up one Mars soul. So now all those people need to be born still. And what is the demon trying to do? They're trying to population control. I told you to look up this company. Dangerous. This is who we are. Oh my gosh. I can't tell you anything except you do your own research. But this company is connected to this organization. And you need to understand this is not a game. Because these people worship Orion. These people went to Egypt. They dug up all the technology. See, the problem with all these ancient civilizations is human sacrifice. And they do it in exchange for the technology. So yes, they had all this good technology, but the price was unnecessary because we put the codes in certain individuals' DNA. So you don't need to sacrifice anyone. In fact, if you sacrifice people, you might lose the right people who have the codes in their DNA. But that's what these rich people don't understand, who are being used by the demons. They are just, it's like the part in the Bible, oh gosh, we're going to go there, or we're going to have to go there, to Abraham. Why Abraham is so important. Let's go there a little bit. Just a little bit. So, imagine you're floating above someone's head and you see this energy net around them. I told you this is the internet. It's like the internet. It connects you to everything on earth, Google, whatever. This is the intranet. This is 4D. This is where Tiamat and the demons live in spirit form because they died, but there's no heaven for them. So their heaven is dreamland or thoughts, mental plane. And then there's the exonet. And this is 5D. This is where they can't touch us. We live here. We own this. They are trying to pretend they own this through Project Bluebeam. Okay, because this light is blue. I sing about it in the song called Mvikeli, track number 4 on my playlist on Spotify. I'm talking about this. And in there, I'm asking for Metatron to come out of this and save me because these motherfuckers are crazy. Okay, so Abraham was taken over here. he represents the first kind of initiate. Okay, it's the one who's taken against his will. You can say he was abducted. Is this coming out? Must I zoom out? Abductee. Okay, so Abraham, or Abram, if you want to be technical, he was the first abduction by the Lyrians. We took him and we said, we need you to understand that there is God, and God is wonderful and he created everything, but there are these psychopaths who control Orion's system right now, and they are called Dracos, and we need you to build a family line and children to protect against the Dracos, because they exist in the spiritual lane, the etheric realm, the fourth dimension, because they are dead now in physical form. Go to the bottom of the ocean, you won't see a giant snake there. But in the fourth dimension, it's there, and it's influencing every single human's emotions, 70 to 90%, according to the moon phases, every day. And then you wonder why everyone's acting insane, and you are not insane, because you have more light. Okay, but Abraham was abducted. And so Abraham used to, read the Bible. It talks about it here all the time. One of my favorite stories is the one when God literally comes down to Abraham. Here, Genesis 18. God comes to him. Okay, so since Abraham said, there, 18, Genesis 18. Then the Lord appeared to him by the terebinth trees of Mamre, as he was sitting in the tent door in the heat of the day. So he lifted his eyes and looked, and behold, 3 men were standing by him. And when he saw them, he ran from the tent door to meet them and bowed himself to the ground. So the Lord appeared to him, but it was 3 men. And now you know why I keep telling you about the Trinity. Now, we don't need to go too deep into these things, because that's past beyond this class. But you just see now all the doors are shaking. So we're not going to talk about that now. But I just need to know Abram was abducted and he spoke to aliens as if you speak to your friends, 3D. He speaks to the aliens. Like I saw them. I saw them 3D and 5D. Because for me, they were there. But it's like I can see them. It's how I make the pictures normally on my content. It's like that holographic thing. We'll get to that when we get to the star power class. But Abraham was abducted, fine. Then Moses was over here. So let's say Abraham, let's give him a number. Let's say, because I keep saying we 50%, but let's do 30 instead of 50. So let's do 30. Okay, so then we have the intranet, Moses. So remember Moses, he was gonna die because there was a curse that all the Pharaoh said all the men must be killed, and then you had to put the blood on the door. Like our ancestors actually did that and we survived. And then, I don't know, you guys have to do your own research, but basically Moses was in a river, floating along, basically getting baptized. And then he was in a river, marine, floating along, and then the Egyptian lady found him and pretended she was his son. And they adopted him, right? So what does that tell you about Moses? Moses came into the alien bloodline or the power through law, legal. I like to call this part not the abductees, but the legal aliens. So the legal aliens are the people who are like, okay, look, I keep going to these places. I came through this part. I made a deal, basically. When I was 5, they came to me. When I was 3, they came to me and helped me. When I was 5, they came to me and told me what was really going on about the spiritual warfare. And they showed me everything. And they said, do you want to join? Do you want to be a part of it? And work for us, the Lyrians, the light. And I said, yes, of course. I was incensed. Little did I know what I was signing up for. But sometimes I just think, imagine if I just became a normal accountant and I didn't know anything. Imagine how dangerous that would be for me and my family to not actually know what is really going on here. Yikes. Anyway, so I came through the mosaic kind of path. So through my activations, it had to do a lot with law and legal things. So all of a sudden, things would just happen to me randomly, but it's because it was a contract. That's why I keep talking about the contract. It was set off at different times. So at different ages, different abilities would activate, and I would be told things, and then they would happen. And it's very mosaic, you know. You see a burning bush, and you're like, "What is this?" I am. Write this down. Take it to the people. Tell them not to worship a golden calf, type of thing. And that's kind of what I'm doing now. But after my recent experience, I've upgraded to the next level, which is the Exonet or the Lumanian love light level. So the world as a whole has been in this Moses era for the past 2,000 years because they've been in the Bible fighting over the Old Testament and the New Testament. And that is represented by this, which we'll also call 30. So when I say you are star marine, I need you to think deeply about what I'm saying because everything is a code. What I'm really saying is you are a combination of the abductee experience and the legal participant, willing participant of this. And how do I know that? Because you are manifest in the flesh. You would not have been born if you did not agree to be a part of this program. Because this contract is made in spirit. Remember, first it happens in heaven, then it happens on earth. As above, so below. Because we work with vertical energy, because we aren't Satanists who work with horizontal energy. So because of the nature of how our energy flows, right? Even in law of attraction, they say, first you think it. Abraham says, you imagine it, then it's done. Then it will come into being. That's how we operate because we work for God. We aren't Satanists who do the opposite of that. So because of that, we are 50% star, 50% legal aliens or marine. Because remember, Moses worked with Marines. When he went to Pharaoh to do a miracle, he took his staff and he turned it into a serpent, a seraph. He is the seraph. He represents our legal interests against the demon, the chief commander-in-chief demon who tries to get us. That's what the 10 Commandments represented. Now, some people are going to come to you and try and give you something called Noah laws or Noahide laws. Do not, I repeat, do not sign for that. It's a scam because they say they are 7, but there are actually 10. And when you get to 10, there are 100. And when you get to 100, there's actually 702 or 720. 702. It's something horrendous. And if you don't follow one of those 702 laws, they'll chop off your head. So you need to be careful, especially now when people are bringing up Orion, something that is finished. The Bible tells us it's finished. The demons are locked in a lake of fire. That's the fire stuff you guys dream about in the mall world. It's called Bizarro World. It's a hell that was sealed off on the 19th of November. So they cannot go through. They're stuck there in Tartarus. But because this book is read every single Sunday and every single day by people, they keep recreating the Star Wars over and over and over. But we have astrology, so we can undercut them and we can actually enjoy this planet while they continue to live in madness. So 30 and 30 is what? 60. So this is 30. This is 60. Remember, the demon's number is 6. The number of Venus is 6. It's not evil, like I said. It's the number of man. 666. I'm trying to say this without like scaring people. And by the way, the planet we live on is 606. Urantia is planet 606, but let's not get into that. So now here, 5D, what do you think this number is going to be? So we have 30, which is 50% of 60. So 50% star, 50% marine. So we have 30, we have 60. So what's this going to be? Remember those things in school where the teacher would be like, fill in the blank, and then you get a mark? So what would this be? At school, to get the answer right, and this is why demons fail, it would be 90. But 90 is not perfection. That's why in the East culture, they say number 9 is sacred. In the East. And I worked in the East for almost a year, and I was very much involved in, like, I got a very first-hand experience of the culture. And, you know, 9 monks came and they blessed us and put water on us and whatever. And so I was like, oh, that's interesting, because in our culture, as Melchizedekian priests, this is 40. Because for us, this is 30, 60, 40. It's 364. And I told you in the other lesson about the 360 and then the 6 demons, and we don't talk about the 1, so there's actually 5 demons, but we conquered the 1, who's Lucifer. Okay, so then there's 4 demons that we fight on a daily basis. Let's put it that way. These are the 4 demons you need to worry about. Because remember, 360 angels, we own all the angles of the sphere. But those 6 demons came out. We captured 1, Tiamat, and the other 4 are still running amok, but it's fine because they're lesser demons and we can handle them. I mean, come on. And they account for the corruption. But when we work in the 5D, we don't discount them. We are not afraid of them. We are not scared of them like the churches. I mean, if you go to a church today and you dress up as a goth, they'll tell you to go outside because they'll think by looking at you, they can tell you're a Satanist. But you could literally be Jesus. You could be the second coming of Jesus. But because you're dressed as a goth, a Visigoth, the actual church will tell you to get out. That's because they don't want to look at this. They either want to stay 369, let's manifest, 369, manifest. or they want to do 360 and completely ignore the other demons that actually control the world, the one that know the ones that people don't talk about, Moloch and all of them, Beelzebub and Astaroth and, you know. And the only one who's on our side is Lucifer, or Tiamat, because she gave us the DNA, or we took it through our knowledge. And because God, commands that snake. It's written, and I'll show you, we didn't just take things. I'm not saying that to be glib. I will show you proof of why we are allowed to take it. And it's ours. Okay, open up to Amos. I have so many bookmarks. Open up to Amos chapter 9. And the Lord, Hashem, tells us that this is ours. Where's Amos? This is how I find it. I wish it was like Charmed, where it just blows open for you. Seriously, it's at the back. I know it's at the back. My heart is telling me it's at the back. But I'm being stubborn. It's like right at the back. But it's... Come on. Okay, it's Amos 9. It's after Acts. Isn't it? And in it, God is talking about the serpent at the bottom of the sea. And he says that he will, if you try to hide from the Lord, he will command the snake at the bottom of the sea to bite you. Okay, now I'm just vamping for time. Come on, guys. You're gonna do me like this on live TV. Okay, we're getting there. No, that's the last one. Guys, I'm gonna use... Do I have a contents page? I don't even have a contents in this... Oh, I do. I've never used this before. There we go, 617. See, typical man. I never ever use the directions. I want to find it on my own. Okay, Amos chapter 9, 6. There we go, my favorite. So Amos 9, I'm going to read the whole thing. No, I'm going to read only chapter 3, but it's really good. I encourage everyone to read this because it tells you the kind of protection you have on you. And we talk about this when we go into dark arts and protection, which is like 105. Okay, so he says, I saw the Lord standing by the altar, and he said, so this is what the Lord said. I'll go to number 3. And though they hide themselves on top of Carmel, from there I will search and take them. Though they hide from my sight at the bottom of the sea, from there I will command the serpent, and it shall bite them. So this whole verse is saying that your enemies, or people who are against you, as part of your birthright as a priest of Melchizedek. It's the wine, guys. I don't drink often. So literally when I have one sip, even though it's communion, it's just like, yeah, wine is not my thing. I prefer to access my crown chakra through meditation. Okay, so from the bottom there, from there though they hide from my sight at the bottom of the sea, from there I will command the serpent, and it shall bite them. So Tiamat, that I've been telling you about, is that serpent. That's the marine. So even though I tell you you are 50% marine, 50% star, yes, you are 30% star. You don't have a choice in that. Abraham paid the sacrifice for that. I'm not going to go into how. We'll go into that later, but it's written. His mom did it. And so you are fine there. And marine, you are fine because you are here. You are participating. If you are here, I mean you are here on earth, which means you have accepted that you manifest reality. You have accepted that things are not just happening to you. That's Mosaic law. It's understanding the I am. I am that I am, right? Do I need to do a course on that? If I do, I will. But we are not going there on this course because that's your life. I mean, you know this by now. And that's something you learned by being presented with different choices in life. And you had to make a lot of moral choices. This is the hardest path, the Mosaic path, because you have to follow those laws. You cannot do adultery. And in this day and age, I mean, adultery is adultery. And in this day and age, a lot of people are very loose with that, but you can't do that. You've noticed this in your life. Whenever you think of doing something wrong, you get punished. Whenever you try and benefit off of magic, it gets taken away. That's because you're part of this contract. And it's got nothing to do with being gay, bi, straight. You're allowed to do that. There's nowhere in the 10 Commandments that it says don't marry a man or don't marry a woman if you're a woman. It doesn't say that anywhere. Show me. In fact, it supports it in Matthew 19, verse 12, where Jesus supports everyone. So I don't know what people need to stop listening to the television and actually read the physical Bible, because everything is in the physical Bible. Because they didn't know what to take out and what to leave in. Only we know. That's why Melchizedek is there in the Old Testament, in the middle, and in Revelations. We are everywhere. And no one has ever told you that in Sunday school, have they? Because it's for now. It's the revelation for now. In the last days, they will pour out the Spirit and we'll all get visions. Okay. So this is 14 because it's the number of rain. Oh, am I allowed to say it? Okay, I'm not going to say the word that they are saying. I'm going to say another word. Transfiguration. This is the transfiguration. Okay? There's another word that would make it easier for you to understand, but there's a lot of energy attached to that word which I don't want to use. So I'll rather use transfiguration. That's why this is 40. And that's really what instant manifestation is, because Jesus did this. And there was a witness. Well, witnesses now to it. And that's why I'm not talking about there's this episode of Buffy where Willow goes to the witches society and all the witches are there and they like, yeah, we're gonna use positive energy and we're gonna think and everything's gonna be fine. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about that magic. And Willow is like, what are they talking? I want real magic where you actually move things with your brain. I want to materialize a Coca-Cola out of thin air. That's what I'm talking about. Because that's what we are doing in Montauk in 1984. Hooked up to the machines at Montauk Point. This is a dream we're having. Or it's not a dream, it's another reality that we projected within one of the 197 realities. And we created this to escape what they're doing to us at Montauk. That's where we really are. But it's gone now. We can't go back there. It's finished. Once you jump out of a timeline, you close it. It's gone. You can't go back. You pull all your energy, all your cells from all the timelines into your current timeline. If you listen to the famous people who work for Satan, they'll tell you, no, you must dimension jump to different realities. This is what they tell you. They say, no, time is linear and you make a decision. You go here, the reality A, reality B, and you make another decision and you live in all these different places. Lies. This is Luciferian technology. They want you to split up your spirit into many tiny pieces. And then they'll kill all of them and eat you for energy so they can power all of their evil dimensions. What you need to do is, yes, you dimension jump. Every time you make a decision, you pull in different realities. That's why you are dangerous. That's why we need to go work for the Pentagon, because they're going to take us as an enemy, because we have technology that they can't explain. So don't chop yourselves up. Yes, every time you make a decision, you branch off to a different dimension, but then take your body with you. Take your light body to all the dimensions. Take this. So if you have all these things that you meditated, pull them back. Call them. Say, I call all my power back through every dimension and time and space, throughout history, in all realities, in perpetuity, throughout the universe, however specific you want to be, and call all of your bodies back to the here and now consciousness of your experience. And then you should see 3 men or people, 3 them. In your chamber. We'll talk about the chamber next time. But then you'll see the 3 wise men. Okay? And they have light. And you work with them only. These are the only people you talk to. This is who you manifest with. I can't believe they're letting me tell you guys that stuff. Uh-oh. You're letting me tell them this stuff? Okay. You manifest with these 3 men. When you get married, you talk to these 3 men. When you want to meet someone to procreate with, or to marry, because if you want, you can marry the person of the same sex and just make a baby on the side. Like, there's options. Look at what all they did in the Bible. Look at what King Solomon did. Okay, so whatever, you talk to these 3 men. I can't tell you, the government can't tell you, this book, like, only these 3 men can tell you, because they are the living God. Oh, excuse me. One God. Okay, I was raised in the Church of Methodists, and our church symbol is this. So our literal Methodist church, if you Google Methodist, it's this. Now this is kind of like a Veskia Pisces, but it's the advanced form, remember, because the old form was 1, you get abducted, 2, you make a deal. But now we have the 3 together, the energy field in us as the sons of Melchizedek, right? The sun god, but the real God, the one God, not an object, not a physical sun, the actual living God. That's who we talk to. That's who we manifest with. You see, now the doors are shaking. Am I allowed to tell them? Okay. So when you manifest and you look at that diagram I showed you, I want you to now transform that diagram that I told you. You're looking at a human from the sky, and you're looking at their crown, you're looking at the energy emanating over them, and the energies like that. You're flying above the human. Now I want you to land and look at the human, but look at the human interdimensionally. This is what you would see. This is like a Mobius, because it doesn't have an ending or a beginning, but it definitely has 3 corners. Okay, so now I'm slowly moving you from this satanic circular model, Luciferian model, to a Masonic model. Not Freemason, Masonic. Carpenters, Jesus, Melchizedekians. Okay, so 3 corners. This is the symbol of the 3-cornered God, which is actually one. We are not worshipping a trinity in Methodism. So what are the 3 corners? So when you really draw the sign properly, it should really look like, I'm going to lift up my pen because I need to get the corners. Something like that. And that's meant to be, colored or clear. So this is God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. So these 3 men, or 3 people, because it's 2024. Well, I'm a man, so I'm going to say 3. These 3 men, if you're a woman, then say 3 women. These 3 men are who create your manifestation. Without them, it won't work. And they are they occupy 3 corners. So remember in lesson 1, I showed you that this is actually a square, right? So you, through the power of Jesus, can manifest instantly, like turning water into wine, if you want, by following this divine technology. So the 3 corners is you and God. You are not God, okay? When people say you are God, they are working from Satanism. So it's you. So let's map it out. 1, 2, 3, and you. You are the salvation cross. When you look at the 5D interpretation of what Jesus did in the 3D, and why, when his friend said, "No, Jesus, don't say you're going to die," and Jesus said, "Get thee behind me, Satan," because Jesus knew he still had to go to fight in Lumania, to fight the serpent that we see is commanded by us. It's written here, chapter 3, and it's there. Okay, so Jesus still had to go fight that battle that already happened in the 4D for us, so that we don't fall victim to the astral projection demonic attacks. And that's why you need Jesus. And Metatron is the tetrahedron star of this, which then turns it into a spaceship. This is your spaceship. So this is what this sign means. Now, I've explained this to you on a 3D, 4D, and 5D level. So when you go to sleep tonight, it should make you dream some freaky stuff, which explains everything better. But now you know why we use symbols to encode meaning and what that meaning is. And in the next set of classes, it's going to be about, okay, so what the heck do I do with it? How do you use this to physically turn water to wine? I mean, I didn't think this stuff was like physically real. I knew it was real in the 4D because I would just see it in my dreams and stuff. But when I wrote my book and I literally manifested working for a billionaire overseas in like the click of a finger, I was like, oh, there really are beings in the fourth and, dimensions beyond that are talking to us. And I happen to find one that is good and that gives me proof and evidence of everything. And oh, they've been talking to me since I was a kid. And other people found the demonic ones who tell them how to master matter at any cost. And that cost is human life. And that is not allowed. That is not right. And so when you use this technology, just know that it's gonna come, it's bound to your DNA because you are half Draco. So if you do try any, personal gain or whatever, it's gonna come back on you, That warning goes without saying. It's a complete system. And so once you understand how this, your energetic system of connectivity, turns or can be represented as the triquetra, which is your Merkaba, and you are a part of it, you can also manifest anything you want to in record time. So in the next lesson, we're going to do the King's Chamber. I recommend that you probably watch these past 5 lessons over and over, because you then need to tell me if you are getting it or if I need to go back and do like the basics. And if you want to communicate your level of understanding, you can use the color system or the ticket system. So if you don't understand anything, about this section, which is about the language of hyperspace, how symbols and your energy are connected, and your inheritance to the 5th dimension, your star heritage. So if you don't understand, you can say, I'm buying a ticket. Okay, because this is the airport. Pretend you're at the airport and you're going to fly off to your dreams. So if you don't understand, you can say, hang on, I'm still buying a ticket and I'll go slower. If you kind of understand, then you can be like, okay, I'm on economy. You're kind of getting it, but you're busy, you don't have time to take it all in. And if you really, really understand, and I can go deeper and deeper, then you are first class. You're in first class section. Then I can go deep into the Egyptians and, the Nagas and the city made of gemstones inside the earth, and Admiral Byrd and what he saw when he went to Agartha, and Sumat Kamara. Should we talk about him? Should I talk about the Venusians who stand and have been waiting at the portals of Earth for this moment? Do I go back into star history? Do you want to learn about Ahriman? Do you want to learn about the original Satan? Do you, or should I just, uh, or should I just stick to what's relevant for us, which is basically Tiamat and the program, the Sun Sea program, military program that we are a part of. And to close off, I'm going to go back to that because that's how we got into this. But as promised, let's close. Oh, by the way, so if this is Abram, this is Moses, this is Jesus, or the Christos. It's us. It's Melchizedek, because he's our high priest. Christ. It's us. And us, why is it us? Because we've always been there. We've always been in the outer ring, in the blue light, waiting. Always. All the drama, it's like people always say the devil likes to confuse you by doing something in this hand, but this hand is doing, yeah, we also know that trick. So while people thought, oh, look at Jesus, look, yes, Melchizedek was here on the left. Actually, he was here on the right. And Jesus was here on the left saying, look, everybody, I can turn water to wine. And then Melchizedek was like, come, read these words. Where do you think Jesus studied from? So, yeah, that's a whole nother topic. If I go into that, we'll be here for centuries. So we own this last bit, the 364, 365, 366. Those are our numbers. We'll get into numerology aspect of that later. But essentially we have all three of these in us. And that's why I say, yes, we are 50% star, 50% marine, but ultimately, because we have the exonet, we are actually more star-like. We are more Elohim-like. We are like the elders, the actual people who started this whole program. Yeah. I call them the elders. Some people call them something else. The people before the ancients, even. God. Okay. Hashem. So you can't say, oh, well, I'm half marine, I'm half star, so I'm just going to be evil. No, because this will pull you back. And the demons are trying to recreate this using technology. And they keep using technology and disrupting the patterns of the world and disrupting the matrix, especially at CERN. And that's why we need to come out and say, hey, we are the aliens. Here's our legal birthright. Tell us any different. And I bet you if you check our genetics, we will match. Something, somehow will match. Because it's directed panspermia. Crick told us. Directed panspermia. It's in there. So it might be, I think, okay, this is my theory. Now this is theory time. I think it's chicken pox. There's a certain gene that you get if you get chicken pox. And I would argue that it might be chicken pox, but I don't know. So if you had chicken pox, please comment in the comment section so we can find out what is this thing, this genetic marker that we must all share. Oh, it could be autism. It could be neurodivergency as well. So it could be many things. So let's go in the comment section and speculate and come together on a way on how to find what our genetic marker is, because there has to be a genetic marker if we dream of the same thing. That's morphic resonance, which means we come from the same place, like basic. It's in psychology as well. Anyway, going back to this, please look this up, guys. Orion is trying to come back, but we've squashed Orion. Okay. And come on. Okay. So we went over breath control. And I told you we Lyrian. And then we went over Draco and Gene Keys. So just to sum up on the Draco part, then we'll say goodbye. So yes, you are half Draco, or rather 25%, because the other 25% is a reptile, amphibian species, like a crocodile, that lived on Earth, and she's Tiamat. This Draco race, it came from out of this dimension. It's not from here. It just so happened to resemble a lot of the qualities of this lizard type of species thing. But this thing is also the one that creates greys. And the greys have now defected, and the greys have their own program of slowly hybridizing humans and working slowly with them. The greys now are part of this other faction. Now, I'm not going to call them sons of Melchizedek, because you have to be a son of man to be a son of Melchizedek. And not all the people in this new movement are Lyrian. Some of them are full-on Draco. And that just goes to show there's no racism over there. It's all energetic. So, like I said in the beginning, not all of these reptilians or Dracos are bad. Even you, when you look in the mirror, sometimes you might see your eye change into a reptile. Yes, because that's your heritage. So relax. You're not evil. There's nothing wrong with you. You're fine. And also, if your parents struggled to have you, or if your parents had you late, or if you're some kind of miracle baby, a surprise baby, that's another marker that you are one of us. Okay, normally it seems like you came out of nowhere, because you did. You were timed. You were pre-timed. We work through time. That's why on all your classes, it's written horology, horoscope, the movement of time, Metatron is time. So these greys used to abduct people for Dracos, not like literally, but in the astral realm. So from the astral, because all these people are dead. So from the astral realm, they would come and take you to different dimensions, because their bodies could work on those dimensions. And through there, they would come with projections. And that's when you see things and you don't know, is it a real clown? Is it a person? But then you see other things that you feel real. How do you know that this is real, this is not real? Because you can feel an emanation vibrating from the real beings, because you share DNA. So the Greys worked and do work with Lumania. So Lumania is essentially an amalgamation, because after the Orion Wars, so after the real Orion Wars, what happened was we decided to intermarry and interbreed the Lyrians and the Dracos of the Orion Empire. And we lived in our planet that I call Eden, and they lived in Orion. Have some more sacrament, guys. We're going there. So, how the war started, it's a long story, but basically we were minding our business. The angels created us. The elders came from the seventh dimension. They created us in a realm similar to this. And they use cat DNA, blah, 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 because cats are amazing. We read in the Bible that Jesus said in this verse, Revelations 5:5, "Behold, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the root of David." The root of David, remember the root DNA. Of David. David wrote Psalms where we heard about Melchizedek again as the priesthood of priests forever, because it's in our DNA. You can't choose to be in this group. You are chosen to be in this group. Do you think I wanted to be sitting here telling you about aliens? No. But they use us because we are normal people, and people will believe us, I guess, instead of using winos. I don't know. But even, I love the quote that Jesus says they're going to call us winos. I'm going to tell you that I like to save that for 101, because then you know you're in this. But anyway, after the war, these people came, we gave them technology, they used us, blah, 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 led by Ahriman, Satan, whatever name you want to call him, the defector, whatever. Then, see, now the lights go on, up and down. Then we said, fine, let's get married, let's blend our DNA, because we don't want wars anymore. And then that happened, and they betrayed us, and they tried to steal the machine, the device, that they're still trying to steal to this day. Stealers. Thieves. Because they think they thieves. Guys, it's the wine. Okay, they think that they own everything, and they can do anything because they think self-interest, meaning their survival, is paramount. And they are the bee's knees, okay? And everyone else needs to bow to them. Now imagine these people influencing rich billionaires from the astral realm. Imagine what terrifying things happen. And that's why they're all having wars. Everyone here who's a president is a Freemason. Then why are they having wars? Because they worship Orion contract, which is a shield for the Draconians. Okay? And I'm an academic. I don't have time to learn all of this. They showed me all of this. I have work to do. And I thought this was all a movie. But there are rich people who believe this, and that's what scared me. I was like, oh no. There are rich people who think Game of Thrones is a manual for life. Like literally, I was there. And so now we have to use, it is a spiritual, this man was right. It's a spiritual war. And I didn't get it for a long time. Because I thought if you were rich on earth, then it means you were clever. And if you're clever, then it means you don't believe in ghosts and demons, that even if they're there, you know, because that's how I was raised in my household, that humans have the ultimate power. Man has the ultimate power over all entities in this realm, because it's our realm. Now, we own it. And you need to take authority over these people who think that they are doing something that only God can do. Because we know from Masonic law, thou shalt not kill. So anyone who supports killing, I'm sorry, but thou shalt not kill. You can't get around that law. It is Mosaic law. It's Masonic law. Now, you want to be a Freemason, then fine, do whatever you want. Do it. Break all the laws, have affairs, do it. But then, when Amos 9 comes up, and the Lord says in Amos 9 that he's going to judge you and catch you for breaking the laws, don't be shocked and surprised. But you see, the deal that they make, the warlocks, and I don't know if they know this part or not, because for me, this is what would make me not want to do it. I mean, besides the other stuff, this is like the real thing that you should not do a deal. Is that when you die, you have to go work to power their machines. Your spirit continues working, you're trapped until that contract is over, or until you get saved somehow, until you deal with it. And it'll be harder to deal with in Bizarro World, in Tartarus, because they're the same 5D instant manifestation I'm teaching you. They also have it in hell, except it's bad stuff. It's fire. It's domination and control. You guys have seen it. You know what I'm talking about. It's not like fire, scary. No, it's that world that I keep trying to show you. And it's so hard to show you. But I uploaded like 6 videos or 7 videos on my Instagram using AI to show you this world, because it's just so weird. I can't explain it. But that's where they live. And when they die, they're going to go there. I mean, I don't know where people go when they die. I'm not the purveyor of that realm. But I'm just telling you, it's a spiritual bondage. And yikes, those people don't like Metatron, because once the people who make a deal on Earth go to the other side and they realize that they are now trapped in incarnation to pay for what they've done, then they start groups where they say, ban Metatron, break the matrix, it's bad. No, it's for you. We are here to imprison you, because we can't vanquish humans. We already vanquished these demons billions of years ago, 3 billion years ago, almost 4, in the real Orion Wars, years ago. But now their spirits are still there in the morphogenetic resonance in the 4D. And so now we are doing the same thing, but using Mosaic Masonic law, meaning it's being done for us automatically. So does that make sense? They use blood sacrifice. We use word sacrifice. We use magic. We use technology. We use this code, bread and wine. And as I explained at the beginning, what the code is, that's what we use, because we have the power inside of us. We just need to unlock it. We don't seek power elsewhere. because there's nothing for us in this world. It's a dead planet. So we use swords. We use flaming swords. That's why they say there's a flaming sword protecting Eden, protecting the machine. Okay, so we'll explore all of that as we talk about this. But okay, Eden, we got married, and this marriage made Anunnaki. And that's who we are. That's who came and helped the men, Abraham, who abducted, who set up the whole alien program on Earth, who spoke to Michelangelo, and he was one of us. Look at his paintings. He drew all the stuff in the pictures. Look at his 3 paintings. Michelangelo, that is. I'll put it up here. The Mona Lisa. The Last Supper. And Vitruvian Man is good, because that tells you about the machine, like your body, why we needed Lyrian DNA. And there's 14 cuts, sections, chambers, and 14 is 7 times 2, and 7 is the holy number, but we double the octave to make it 14. In tarot, the card number 14 is temperance, which is us. 1 plus 4 is 5. We own number 5, blah blah blah. Let's look at Ophiuchus. I don't know how you spell it or say it, okay? I'm not Greek. But look at those paintings by Leonardo, these 3, and you will get a clear picture of the 3 different spheres or corners of God that I'm talking about and your role in it. Just place yourself as the character in each of these paintings and you'll understand. So in the middle, you'll see Jesus Christ in the Last Supper, and he's turning his head to the left. Think of why. Why is he turning his head to the left? What is he doing? What is he saying about the left? What is he talking about at the Last Supper, you know? It's all there for you to see. So I think we're going to cut it there. But yeah, just know that people who are against the Anunnaki are against your grandparents, and don't trust them. Because we are Anunnaki. We are the people who came. Go to Google and just look up all the angels who came down to Earth. And that's one of your family members. Because they stayed here. Okay. And then look up how Jesus left Earth. That's the only way you can go. And Jesus could do it. The angels, they stayed. Jesus had extra powers that we have, so we can also go up. But we like this planet, so we want to save them and it for us. So let's do it. All right, we are going to come back. This was a good communion session. I hope you still have your bread and wine. We're going to come back in the next lesson. And yeah. On Wednesday, I think, the lessons are going to go live in the Lumanian group every Wednesday. And you'll have 5 lessons, and then you'll have a 2-day break and lessons again. Or you can catch them live as they come up. Okay, see you later.